So I am here with my friend Timothy Morris at Red Robin. You can hear all the activity in the background. And Tim has kind of created or developed a really cool process for planning a day at a time, and week at a time too, but a day at a time, and shared it with me. And I've been using it and found it really helpful. And I've asked him if he would kind of explain it to us, sort of what it is. First of all, what do you call it, and what's the purpose of it?
So my tentative name for it is I call it the daily domino process.
Okay. Domino? What does that mean?
Okay, so dominoes come from the book The One Thing, where they talk about you want to line up your dominoes to get to a goal. So the idea they share in there is that when it comes to productivity, when you're doing something that's a small domino, it will build something that's twice the size, and then the next one after that is twice the size of that, and exponentially. So they talk about growth as geometric, in that it when you think about things through the book, The One Thing, the idea is that you're leveraging your time.
Yeah.
And you're asking the question, what is one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary?
That's the focusing question, they call it, using that over and over again.
Yeah, so that's the focusing question, but you want to line up dominoes to get there. So it's sort of like treating each domino as a one thing to get to the biggest one thing.
Yeah.
So I came up with a process to help me do that on a daily basis that has been really fun and helpful for me. So.
Okay, good. So walk us through that.
Okay, so what I do in the morning is my step number one is I will list out all of the tasks I have to do for that day that I've identified. So I don't list them out in any order, I just list them all out.
Just get them down on paper or on your computer.
So it could be I have to design a logo for someone, but I like to be as concrete as I can in the beginning, if I can. So it could be I need to call a friend, I need to contact this person for marketing, whatever. So just get them all on the paper. Step two is I will put a time estimate next to each one of those as to how long I think they would take to do. So it could be a half hour, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 2 hours. So I'll do that. And then I will take them and I will rank them. So now we're concerned about the order of them. So I will rank them in order about what is most important to do for my day, which now I'm leveraging one thing terminology.
Yeah.
But just another way of looking at it is which is most important to do that I want to have done by the end of the day.
So of all these 10 things, here's the one thing. This is the most important, so I put that in first place.
And then I'll put second, third, fourth. But the key is number one, obviously. But everyone follows underneath that. So I have them ranked in order. So step 4 is when it gets fun. So I work it through something I call CERT for myself, but I'll give you guys an easier version, which I'll just call CERT. C-E-R-T, it's an acronym for concrete, enjoyable, realistic, and timely. So you want to rank each one of those lists, or each one of those tasks you had within that. So I'll take CERT and I'll ask of each one of those tasks, 1 through 10, I'll literally put a 1 through 10 under each one of those. So if my task was to cook a meal for my neighbor, I will put CERT next to that and ask, how concrete is that? 1 through 10. And I might be like, yeah, it's 10, I cook a meal. E, enjoyable. So the question at that point is, the way I have framed that task, does it seem enjoyable to me? And at a scale of 1 to 10, how enjoyable is it? So I might be like, that's a 2. In other words, I'm not very motivated.
Yeah.
So then I stop and I ask the question, what would make that more enjoyable? So I tap into some of my own design language in that.
So if you can reframe that task in the terms of your motivational pattern, your motivational design, changes everything.
Exactly. So my top area of what I do for my work would be creating. So if everything I do is creative, I'm in. I'm all in. So for instance, if cooking was really boring, I may be thinking about cooking it in a way that's boring. So I may go, well, I'm going to use a certain kind of sauce, or I'm going to create a sauce that I make for my neighbor. Ooh, I'm in now because I'm creating something new while I'm giving them.
Yep.
So all of a sudden I'm up at 8, 9, 10. I typically don't like to move on until I'm on 9 or 10. So I can like interrogate that task till I can get it at a 10. I'll ask myself, how can I get this more enjoyable? And so then I move on to R. Is it realistic? In other words, can I really get this done when I think I can? So that and concrete, they're sort of buddies.
Yep.
But for me, it helps to have both.
Yep.
And then T, timely. Did I rank time next to it? It's sort of an accountability check.
Yep.
So I go through every single one of my tasks. I have them ranked, and then I make sure they're enjoyable or they're within my design. And then I don't, once again, I do not go forward until I have them ranked on each of that system.
Okay.
Last step, you schedule all of those into your day. So you've gone from brainstorming about what you have to do, ranking them, what's most important, you're making sure they're enjoyable to do or you're highly motivated, and then finally you put it, the rubber to the road with, this is going to happen at this time of my day.
Yep.
So if the days I've done this, it's made my day amazingly fun, and I'm getting a lot more done.
So Tim, somebody could say, wow, I mean, because you do this first thing every day, right?
Yeah.
And somebody could say, that takes a long time. Why isn't that sort of a waste of time to do that every day? And how long does it take you ordinarily? And then what's your sense of is this really valuable?
Yeah, so a couple things on that. Number one, it's a skill that you develop, and you actually get better at it the more and more you do it. So the first time you may do it, it may take you a half hour to an hour. But it takes me a little less than it used to. Right now, it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes. But for me, the way I reason it is, if I don't, how much time do I lose as a result of it? And the time that I lose is exponentially more than the amount of time it takes to do it. So I've seen that with me too many times to argue that it's not worth it. So
your sense is that overall it makes you way more effective, even though it takes time, it really multiplies time.
Exactly.
By doing that.
And that's one of the things, and the one thing that really resonated with me is that it's not about, living life and being fruitful is not about being busy. It's about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's about being smart. So this is a sort of a task that helps you do that on a daily level. Make sure you're on task, make sure you're doing the right thing, or the best thing that you want, and doing it in a way that keeps your heart alive, which is the key piece for me. Is I don't want to just be productive or make money. I want my heart to be alive.
And that's key to motivation too. If you're always doing things you're not really not enjoyable, then you end up finding something else to do.
Right on.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Right on.
I think it's brilliant.
Thank you,
and thank you for sharing that with me.
Thanks.
Good stuff.